Welcome to day 138 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we would have watched the highest grossing film of November 2005, which was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, but we had skipped over The Prisoner of Azkaban as it wasn't the highest grossing film of its month, so we watched that now instead.
It's actually kind of funny because Prisoner of Azkaban was the second highest grossing film of the year of 2004. It's just the highest
Really?
grossing film came out the same month. So,
Oops.
yeah. I
Uh,
believe it was because it was 2004, so I think it was Shrek 2 or something, and it beat it
Oh,
by, and it
right.
just like it
uh,
beat it by like a few million too. It's really close. It's kind of like, okay, it'd be really stupid to just skip this one. So, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's a continuous
Story.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of bad to skip Prisoner of Azkaban.
I mean, actually, speaking of that though, this movie actually had like really nothing to do with like bringing Voldemort back,
No.
No,
which
this
was
I think this
so I
was
was
to
kind of
set
like
up.
interesting about that. I was like, oh, okay, I expect because that's kind of been the plot for the last couple of movies, and it's like, oh, nope, this
I
has nothing to do with
think
it really.
I think just based off of what happens a little bit later, I think I know what this is setting up. This is like supposed to set up Sirius Black and the stuff associated with him.
Well,
Yeah.
that's yeah, assuming that makes sense.
So
So, or I guess you guys should speak first, because neither of you have watched this movie previously.
right, right. Okay, so I had heard that between Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban, there was a change in either producer or director, and that was something that we noticed pretty readily
Yeah,
because of the execution of certain scenes and like the ending especially was very different because they usually end with the school closing ceremony. I don't know if this is like with the book where the last scene is like Harry flying away, but I guess just like the direction and the execution of things were noticeably different. And then I know that this is the first movie where the new Dumbledore was introduced, and
yeah, I
it
was
was
gonna
also
mention
kind of
that.
it was also kind of noticeable because first of all his voice is very different, and then second he kind of portrays Dumbledore in a very different way.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah.
actually reading like that the guy like on purpose wasn't trying to mimic the first I don't remember the name, but the first person, he was specifically like trying to do something like his own kind of thing for it. Which I mean,
Hmm.
I can see both ways because I feel like if they made it like tried to make it like him, then it would have been like, oh, you're trying, but it's not like him. So, or but this is like
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, I'd agree. It definitely you could tell that. I think it was the director. I could look at that up again. Who was different, but I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing.
No, I thought it was interesting. It's just some
Yeah.
things were a bit like some things felt tonally weird, at least I thought.
Yeah, I thought that. Well, this is my first time watching it in many years too, so at the time I just thought of it as the continuation of the scary movies, but
That's a good way to put it as a child.
I like the I liked Buckbeak though, but so yeah, looking at it now and having watched the other two films previously, it is somehow I feel like some of the dialogue also didn't seem to flow as well as the previous movies. Is
Hmm.
that just me? Or
A little
Kind of see
bit.
what you're talking about.
like
A
it
little.
was still fine, but some of the delivery,
It was
like
just a little bit tonally off,
yeah,
I guess.
Hmm.
I guess yeah.
That's kind of the main thing that I felt like it wasn't necessarily like a bad transition. It's just that some things were tonally weird for some reason or another. I'm not
That
exactly sure why.
that too. One thing that I noticed this time around is
Hmm.
that you know how in the previous two movies they're always wearing their cloaks and scarves and stuff?
Yeah.
They actually
Oh
never wear
yeah.
their cloaks or scarves in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're often in like normal clothes.
Was it
Yeah,
just weekends like most of the time in this book or
I
something?
don't
I
know.
have no idea, but I feel like that took away from like, cause yeah, because in the other two films, it kind of kept the atmosphere of this is like a magical place and stuff. But
Right.
I feel like that kind of got a little bit lost with this, where they didn't really focus too much on like the mysticness of the place and
I
everything.
guess, but at the same time, like
Not,
I
it's not a bad
yeah,
thing,
because I kind of
but
liked it. That because again, I remember when we first started, it was like, oh yeah, this is like supposed to be in the real world, right? So
yeah,
Mhm.
I kind of like that implementation. And again, like this is the third movie, so it's like you can't keep focusing on the exact same things, right? So
yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay. I'm looking it up. So yeah. So uh, one guy directed the first and the second one. A new guy directed
Mhm.
this one. A new guy
Mhm.
directs Goblet of Fire, and then a new person directs the rest of them.
Huh.
Oh, so
So
we're
there
gonna
were
see
in total,
another.
yeah, in total there were four directors, one for the first two, one for this, one for the next, and then one for the rest.
Wow.
So
So then we're gonna see another stylistic change in Goblet of Fire, possibly.
yeah, we'll
I
see.
guess, yeah. But yeah, as Valen was saying, I'm not saying it was a bad thing because I agree with Valen that keeping it connected to the fact that it is supposed to be set in the real world and it's not completely in this fantasy setting, I think is a good thing too.
I
Hmm.
kind of took it as maybe they feel like the audience is comfortable enough with the world now that they can kind of make it more casual. That's
Hmm.
kind of the context
That's
I read
yeah,
it
I
in.
could see that.
Yeah,
So I imagine that might have been it. Or it was just the weekend a lot. I don't know.
that's true. We didn't actually see too much classes or Snape, really.
Yeah.
I was surprised to not see Snape that much, but I guess there was more of an emphasis on like Sirius Black and then Lupin. I really like Lupin though.
Yeah, I like Lupin too.
I really like him.
It kind of makes me wonder, like, um, wait, never mind. Doesn't make any sense.
Lupin is actually Harry's dad.
Well, no. Oh, well, it makes me wonder, like, it was one of those things where it's like, oh, duh, why didn't I think of that? Because, like, the guy named Lupin is the werewolf.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then he's afraid of the moon.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, oh, yeah, oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I actually I watched a video about like symbolism and how to like use it very well, and one of the examples was Lupin with the moon because that one creature shows what
Yeah.
you fear.
Huh, oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't even notice that. I didn't, like, think about that at all. Okay, huh, that's interesting.
I was like looking for it because I remembered the video and I was like, oh yeah, that's
Hmm.
actually really a really
Yeah,
good way to
I
do
remember
that.
you showed me that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was
oh,
yep.
well, speaking of the kind of casual thing, I liked how, um, like there were some couple times where, well, what's interesting is that like the characters, like, you know, we said that we saw that like, oh, it's clear that they grew up between the first and the second movies. They grew
Yeah.
up a lot between these two movies.
Yeah.
It's like these are
Yeah.
not young children anymore; they are teenagers, right? Like very obviously. And so what I like about that is that like the interactions between not just the main three but also the other people, it feels more, it changes with that kind of.
Yeah.
So like early on in the movie, like there's a couple of guys who are like eating, I don't know, eating things that make them like make like animal noises or something, and it's just like they're just like dicking around, right? As
Yeah.
like 13-year-old guys would do. So it's like, you know, that there's things like that where it felt a bit, again, it kind of felt more casual, but it felt like it kind of fit with what was going on. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with their ages and stuff.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was good. I liked that.
And everyone's so like, you know, teenager like Harry's like really unhinged, and then Ron is always complaining about things, and then Hermione's always uptight, and you can kind of see that they're in that really weird teenager
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, like the in-between stage, kind of.
Yeah, where they're just like kind of nasty to each other, honestly.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, it was very satisfying at the beginning of the movie when Harry was finally like, "No, fuck you guys," to like, you know, that was nice to see. I was kind of surprised that like didn't really go anywhere. Like he just he used that as an excuse to leave and then get to Hogwarts from there. But it was like I thought that would kind of come back somehow. Maybe it does later. I don't know.
I hope it does later.
Yeah, I mean, I assume we see them again at some point. So you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the Durs.
I always remembered that opening part because I always found it really hilarious.
It gave so much satisfaction for him to be like, okay, I'm out, bye.
Yeah.
I'm out. Drop the microphone.
In terms of the story, I actually, I definitely like this story more than the second one. And I think I like it more than the first one, too. To be fair, the first one wasn't really a story. It wasn't about really the story. It was more about just setting up the characters in the world.
Yeah, it was an introduction.
So I think this one, in terms of the story, I think is the most interesting that we've seen so far. But there are some things that are a bit weird about it. Like, okay, I don't know... Again, so Tara knows spoiling things that will happen, but when they brought up that time travel's a thing, I was like, I don't know if I'm okay with this. I don't know. It felt like this opens up too many possibilities.
Time travel can get tricky if you don't stick with it. I think since they used it as a solution, it felt kind of weird. But if it was introduced as the problem instead, then I think I would have been able to accept it a little bit better.
Well,
because time travel is extremely hard to just nail down at all.
And what I did like about it, though, is that they didn't just use it to do, like, one thing. It's like they went back and they went over many things and showed how they impacted all of those things. So that was nice that they kind of had, like, a real purpose instead of just, like, fuck it, we don't know what to do, solve the problem, you know what I mean? It's a little bit more to it than that. I'm just thinking in terms of, like, future films, like, how is this going to work, right? It like because I'm just thinking like you know, are they going to ignore this for the rest of the films, or are they going to actually try to incorporate it? If they do, how is that going to work? Like I'm just concerned of how that could go, and you know, I wouldn't think Harry Potter is the place where time travel would be. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it's totally fine. I have no idea. But and I also just like the fact I don't remember the dude's name, but the rat guy.
Pettigrew.
Yeah, like the fact that he kind of escaped, and also like when Lupin like they kind of, the hippogriff like attacks him in the woods or whatever, and then he just kind of goes away until like Harry meets him later, and it's like, what happened? Where did you go? You know, and then also and again like with the rat guy just like kind of leaving and he's gone, and I assume he comes into play later somehow. But it was just, I don't know, it felt kind of like it like stopped like right before it should have, in a sense.
I guess that's just either it'll pick up later, or it's just one of those other like weird Harry Potter like plot gets dropped somewhere and doesn't get picked up again.
Yeah, because that's the weird thing about this. I mentioned this before when we were looking at, I think, one of these movies, but it's just the weird thing about how these movies were being made while the books were still being made.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't really know what to focus on yet. So that's kind of probably a byproduct of that. But yeah, so it was, I did probably think just the story I thought was probably the best that it has been, but that's not saying that much. It was good, but it wasn't like amazing, and there will probably be future films I suspect that would be better. But
one thing that I wanted to say was that I found it kind of strange how, you know how Harry stopped Sirius and Lupin from like killing Peter and stuff.
Yeah.
And then later on at the pumpkin patch and stuff, when he sees Scabbers, then he like is almost attempting to go kill him and stuff, but then Hermione stops him. I found that kind of strange because he stopped them from killing Peter, but then he himself later on wants to go kill him. So I found that kind of weird and hypocritical.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure why that was something that was kept in the book, first of all.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I mean Dumbledore himself said you can't be seen and don't fuck up too many things, you know? Like very basically
Yeah,
don't do that.
but then in the first time he himself, like, he wasn't prompted to try and stop them. He
Yeah.
did so, but then in this, he, like, all of a sudden sees Scabbers and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go kill him.
yeah.
Like, and
But you told them not to go kill him in the first thing?
they
Why
should
do
have
you want
just
to do
like
it now?
he should have just let them kill him like in the cabin or whatever. Yeah, the cabin.
Yeah, it kind of it reminds me of a moment in the first Xenoblade that I might
Oh
be thinking of.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
even where I, as someone who doesn't dislike Shulk, was like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
It's
but-
like let's not kill him, and then like let's kill him.
Well,
It's
no.
like,
It was more like
Yo.
let's not kill the guy that you have like absolutely no reason not to kill for justification that has nothing to do with actually this guy.
yeah,
and
it's
it's
like,
like-
yo,
What?
Yeah.
Eh.
It's like trying to take the moral high ground for like literally no reason.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird.
I mean, if I was Harry, I would just be like, okay, yeah, just drown the little bitch.
Or even that, at least make it consistent. Where again, the thing later, it's like I'm gonna kill him now, and it's like, huh? Yeah. So that's
Yeah, it's like,
fair.
why didn't you kill him earlier?
Yeah.
Was that in the book? I wonder.
I have no
I
idea.
don't know.
It might not have been. I don't know because I haven't read it.
I only read the first two books. Yeah, I think.
So for all we know, it could have just been added to the movie for drama, but don't make that mistake. Fellow aspiring writers, don't do that.
New.
Oh, one thing that for sure this film did the best was the visuals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it not just in terms of like, oh, it's made later so the effects look better, but also like the cinematography and stuff like that. It was a lot. It had a lot. There were a lot of good shots, and it looked really good, just in terms of setting things up and showing things off. So that
I
was
liked seeing
definitely really good.
I liked seeing the seasons through the willow tree,
Yeah.
where it was
The
like
walking, oh yeah.
yeah, where it was like, okay, it's time to shed my leaves. Okay, it's like time to get snowed on, or let's get rid of the snow now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the stuff with like them time traveling, and then you see like the original shot that you already watched from like a
Yeah,
distance.
yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
That makes me wonder if there was like during the original shots of that, you could have possibly seen like the future versions of themselves like in the background somewhere of the shot.
That'd be kind of
Like
funny.
probably not. I wouldn't think so, but like I don't know. If I made a
dude.
movie that involved time travel like that, I would have stuck that in there somewhere where like it would be hard to see, but like you could do it if you really tried. I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah, so visually it was really good. So the plot and the characters and the dialogue, it's kind of it's good, but there's some issues.
Yeah.
With kind of everything. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what to think of this. Like compared to the others, I do think, at least me personally, overall, I think it's a bit stronger than Chamber of Secrets. I think Chamber of Secrets was a little bit weaker. But compared to the first one, that's really hard. I don't know. That's my opinion anyway. I can see, like, honestly, I can see comparing these three. I could see like any order that someone could place it, and I could say, okay, yeah, I can understand that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I thought it was. I think the first film always will just hold that like sense of mystique and stuff.
Oh yeah, because it's like the introduction, so it's like very fantastical and stuff.
Yeah. This film, I'm having trouble deciding if I like it more or less than the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, I feel like 2 and 3 are kind of even for the most part, and I just always like the first one a little bit better. I think it's also because I saw it a little bit more often, and it
That's
was
fair.
kind of like the introduction. Although I think so far, like one of my favorite introduced characters, who's like not McGonagall, is probably Lupin. I like him a lot. I hope we see him again.
I
Don't say
won't
anything.
reveal anything.
I know one thing, but I hope we see him again soon.
Yeah, again, I pretty much like most of the characters. I like him. I like Sirius. I like where they're kind of taking just the main characters anyway, kind of how they're developing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it as like kind of a transition film going from like the beginning of the series to like the middle part of it. Um, Definitely interested to kind of again still interested to see where this goes and building off of this
Mhm.
and they're slowly adding because again that was one thing where I was a little bit worried after Chamber of Secrets was like are these all just going to be like some new thing happens that is trying to resurrect Voldemort and then it fails like is it all just going to be like that and this movie said no
Yeah.
we're not going to do that and we are going to add like a
Yeah.
few other things that are clearly going to be important later but at the same time you don't really know how they're going to be important later so
Mhm.
it's good for kind of doing its own thing and also setting some things up in that regard so I like that aspect of
Yeah.
it so yeah it continued to be pretty solid movies so
Yep.
um
We'll watch Goblet of Fire eventually.
yeah it's I think it's in a while actually
It's like a year or two,
I
right?
don't let me check um yeah because we had to kind of move some things around like uh it was a while between these movies partly because like there was for the switching that we had to do we had to like deal with the Matrix movies kind of had to keep them
Yeah.
together so that's why it's been a while but
Yeah, unfortunately.
yeah. Oh, we don't see Goblet of Fire for actually about a while.
Aw.
But
Well, it's like a little bit.
yeah,
It's not too
it's
bad.
not quite as long as the gap between Chamber of Secrets and this, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like I was so resenting the Matrix sequels for this, switching this off.
yeah.
Because the Matrix sequels aren't even good. They're like absolute trash.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So that's something to look forward to. Um, and then uh, our last movie of the year
Oh yeah.
is actually in terms of a concept, kind of similar to the Harry Potter movies.
Yep.
I haven't heard too much about it, besides that it's.
I
So
read
I'm curious to see how this movie for the next one actually works.
I read the book in school,
Yeah,
and
I did too. I don't really remember it though.
I remember like small portions of it, and then I watched it in theaters
Hmm.
with my mom.
Mm.
Yeah, I've watched the movie I think once or twice,
Yeah,
but
haven't
I
seen it.
haven't read the book. So another split with that.
Yeah, so Tara's read the book and seen the movie. Mai's seen the movie but not read the book, and I've read the book and not seen the movie.
Here we go again.
Oh
There
boy.
we go.
So there we go.
Uh,
Hooray. I don't know.
I guess
I don't know. Oh, one
bye.
thing. Well, complete random non sequitur I just thought of right now.
Uh-huh.
The Dementors
Oh yeah.
are. I kind of expected there to be more to them. I don't know. Like I thought, like they were part of some like bigger thing, but
I kind of
I
feel
don't
like
know.
the fact that we don't know too much about them is what makes them even scarier.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm personally very scared of them.
Yeah, I mean they have a really creepy
Yeah.
design, and like the whole thing with like the faces getting all that effect or whatever is definitely it's pretty creepy, and The effects are good in that department. I just remember them like, oh yeah, they were a thing in this movie. From what tiny little bit that I have seen, I think they come up again, but I don't 100% know. So
I won't say anything.
So I hope they do, because I want to. I don't know. I want to see more of them.
You want more Dementors.
I do.
Just scare the shit out of us.
Yeah.
I mean, the last movie, it's a fair price.
Exactly. I was tormented by carrots, okay? I need my revenge. Anyway, is there anything else I want to mention about these? These, whatever.
I don't think so.
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Well...
Buck is cute.
What is cute?
Buckbeak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He's a good
Buckbeak
boy.
is the cutie. He's a good horse. Horse hippogriff.
Horpogriff. Okay, we're done.
Okay. Bye.
Good night. Good morning. I did that again.
Oh my God.
Oops.